Do I really have to explain to you why we have feelings? Roman Reigns gets a victory. Jimmy Uso is back. The Rock is back. And that's just like the last 5 minutes of Bad Blood. Welcome to an instant reaction special emergency edition of Notsam Wrestling. And of course, because we are reacting in an instant fashion, there's only one person that could be here with me. Megan Morant is here. Megan.
Sam.
I mean.
The final boss is back.
Bum, 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 bum. Oh my God. I'm getting excited, just like she's doing the 1, 2, 3 thing. She's doing the 1, 2, 3. Yeah, look, so look. Okay. So obviously we have the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns match, okay? This is headline. We're going to talk about the whole Bad Blood, of course. All due respect to everybody involved. But
we have to start here.
I mean, we have to start with the final boss. We have to start with the end. And the end is the final boss. He comes out with the, hang on.
You're
Relax.
getting out of yourself.
Relax.
Too excited.
You saw me. You got to see me in the flesh. And over the past several months, people think this, nobody actually thinks that, but the idea that this bloodline fandom and fanaticism that I have is some kind of act.
It's not an act. I can assure you all, this is not an act.
So look, we get these amazing entrances. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Cody has a brass marching band that plays him to the ring.
Do we know if that was his high school, like his alma mater?
I thought you might have thought that he got a band like he got a bus. Like, is that his band now? Was that part of his renegotiation?
No, he's from Georgia. Maybe called up the high school band.
Or maybe it's the college band. I don't know. I don't really know. They did have to start his music twice.
Yeah.
But we have to do things sometimes.
It's fine. We love the song. Play it again.
Exactly. I love, especially the part where he talks about how many royal families there are.
It's great. There's just wrestling.
Well, it's more than one.
Yeah.
It's the thing. We don't know exactly how many, but it is more than one. So Roman Reigns gets a string section. He had did you notice that as he walked down the aisle, there were people on those little pegs that come out of the guardrails that were singing the
And they were dressed like waiters and waitresses, in the full all black gimmick. Yeah, I do love. I love the new rendition of Roman's entrance.
Yeah.
It has a little more drama to it, which I didn't know an entrance that takes as long as Roman's does could have more drama, and it does. I love it.
And it suits the fact that he's a babyface now, because everybody goes there is that it's okay to have this level of anticipation because he's a good guy. We're going to cheer when we see him. So we're so excited. And I mean, people, you read it in the comments. They think Roman Reigns could step out of his car and pick up a piece of gum off the floor. And I'd go time for a podcast. And maybe it's true, but there's a charm to that. From the minute he walked out into the aisle, aura. He carries a different weight with him as he walks to the ring, as he's in the ring, as he's performing. It's just, it's as the t-shirt once said, it's greatness on a different level.
Well, I don't mean to make it about weight literally, but Roman is chiseled right now.
Lean muscle for days.
Oh my goodness. Now before
the body on this guy,
there were many a days on the road to WrestleMania where the OTC was wearing a sweatshirt, and you and I theorized.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that body.
At WrestleMania, the sweatshirt was going to come off, and we were going to see Chisel. We did. He's taken it to another level since WrestleMania 40.
I think you're right. He showed up in amazing shape. Hadn't missed a step. Knows, you know what I mean? Does no wasted moves. Doesn't have to do every move in the book. But I thought the match played out well. Cody and Roman and the drama leading to, even in the very beginning, Roman going, "Oh, you want to start? Mm-hmm. You want to start?"
I mean, it really set the table to show, hey, we're teaming, but we are by no means friends.
Right. However, we get to the match builds and builds and builds until you get to this part where Cody cannot figure out how to put Jacob Fatu down. And finally he realizes he must do to Jacob what Jacob has done to him and so many others. and he lays Jacob on the table, and he gets up on the top rope, and he gets onto the post, which, you don't see Cody do stuff like that. And this was such a nice move. He got Roman's attention and just gave him the salute. Like, I'm sacrificing myself, so all you have to do now is take care of Solo. But me and Jacob are both going to go down. And Jacob's last words from the table, I'm sure, were, Solo, I love you. And then crash, Cody Rhodes comes crashing through the table. Now Cody and Cody and Jacob are both out. Here come the Tongans to distract Roman Reigns. And who better to take out the Tongans and he was a thorn in the side of so many, with a bandana covering half of his face, with the hoodie covering his head. Not again. You've got to be kidding me. We've seen it played out so many times, and it's really interesting because if you look at stuff the Bloodline is doing, Roman Reigns is fell in that match for tricks that he would play on other people when he had his Bloodline. However, this Bloodline, the new Bloodline, didn't take into consideration that sometimes the old dog's tricks still work. And here comes Jimmy. And Jimmy's just there for his OTC, for his tribal chief. I mean, the reaction.
The smile on Jimmy's face, the embrace between Jimmy and Roman Reigns.
Big hug.
It really did. It felt good.
But also
it felt right.
The embrace from the audience, that everybody, when they were like, Jimmy, because everybody's been waiting for Jimmy Uso to show back up, and we get the embrace. We get the Roman Reigns pin, and Roman and Cody win the match after Roman pins Solo Sikoa. That's when we get the embrace. Roman and Jimmy Uso exit the ring, and
all is well.
All is well.
We are happy. We are smiling.
Yeah, that's right.
Everything is good.
And we even got a moment before they exited when they turned their backs on Cody. But before they turned their backs and left, Roman gave Cody a nod. Like, okay, we're fulfilled our bargain.
We're not hugging it out, but all right, we worked together. And I gave you my word. We did it. Enough.
And there was respect.
Yes.
And people tried to make claims that nod of respect came at SummerSlam, and not true. Not true. Not. You were looking for it.
I was. And I went back and looked for it because I read the comments, which you should never do.
Always read the comments, they say.
You should never do. But I was like, did I miss something? No, we didn't miss anything. There was no nod of respect.
Right.
Before.
By the way, I just got a text message. We're not looking at the press conference right now. We'll cover that on Notsam Wrestling on Monday. But somebody just texted me saying that Cody bailed on the press conference. You know why Cody bailed on the press conference? Everything counts.
That's right.
1 month ago at Bash in Berlin, it was, I'm so happy to be hosting the press conference.
He was.
And now he's bailing on it? Well, we'll find out. I haven't seen the press conference yet. I'm getting notifications as we go. But Roman and Jimmy are leaving, and Cody gets jumped by this new Bloodline. And we see the beautiful shot of Roman and Jimmy in the aisle, and you can see yards behind them. Cody is in no man's land with 2 Tongans and 2 Samoans just beating the Thanksgiving stuffing out of him. And Roman looks at Jimmy, and the Jimmy-Roman dynamic is not the dynamic of old. All right, and it could shift back, obviously, but there is a certain level of appreciation and respect that Roman is showing Jimmy that we certainly never saw before.
No, before, Jimmy was certainly a step below Roman.
Several steps.
Looking up to Roman, listening to his tribal chief. It almost felt like they were contemporary friend. I mean, they're just cousins that haven't seen each other, thankful for each other. They were having a good time.
Yeah. By the way, that Bloodline is so filthy. Michael Cole said like blood is thicker when Jimmy came in to make the save. It was Jimmy's brother that Roman was fighting.
Yes, it's true.
But the Bloodline is thicker.
Yes,
is what he was trying to say. So, but I more mean like there was this manipulation that would occur from Roman Reigns, where it was like almost an abuse level of manipulation.
Yes.
And that wasn't what was going on. He looks at Jimmy. He goes, should we go in just this once? And what did Jimmy say? You're my tribal chief. You're my OTC. Whatever you say, Oos. Whatever you say, Oos.
But there was a moment there I was concerned that they were going to turn their backs on Cody Rhodes.
And that was the moment because Roman as a character, as I've said, his attitude remains constant. His belief in himself remains constant. His belief in his control over everything remains constant. However, what has changed is the character. You asked me on the Countdown show about Roman being a man of his word, and I responded that Roman doesn't lie. He'll just tell you things you don't want to hear and then follow through with them. Now, you could argue that one way or the other, but here, if he hadn't had Cody's back, it'd be like, oh, Roman is not a nice guy. Roman is a bad person.
He is not a babyface.
No, right.
He's not.
And then Roman looks at Jimmy and says, just this once. And they run back in the ring and they clear house. And we go off on, this had been rumored that we might see this individual show up at the premium live event. But tell me the truth, at Bad Blood, when Jimmy has already returned. So we got that, yay, Jimmy's back. That's what I said. And we have Cody, Roman, and Jimmy now standing in the ring, having taken out Solo's bloodline, and Roman and Jimmy made the save. And they were all three in there together, kind of having this moment. Would you have been okay if that was the end of the show?
I would have been okay with it.
Did you think it was?
Partially, because we already got, it was obviously teased this week on the Pat McAfee show that there was going to be some sort of big announcement made, and there was earlier in the night by Triple H about Crown Jewel.
Yes, Cody specifically said on McAfee's show there will be an announcement made. He said a video played or something, which maybe that was the original idea, but based on title implications for Crown Jewel. We'd already gotten it.
Yeah, we got that. Jimmy's back. They could have ended it right there.
Yes. And I think there would have been some people going like, oh man, I thought there was going to be more. But people like me would have been like, come on, bro. The good guys won. We got Jimmy back.
Let him cook.
Let him cook, and don't let internet rumors spoil a good show.
Yeah, and whenever somebody, not even somebody, there's nobody like The Rock. Whenever The Rock is rumored to come back and he doesn't come back, you're going to be let down.
And you can't be, if you're Dwayne Johnson, you can't be running around telling people you're 40 miles away from wherever a pay-per-view is taking place, regardless of who you're hanging with.
Listen, everything
counts.
We all remember Game Day in Colorado last year and SmackDown in Denver. We all remember.
Started the whole thing.
Yep.
Started the whole thing. So, as they're celebrating, and I was like, and part of me was like, you know what? Maybe it's not going to happen. If this makes sense for it to end on this, we'll go down the road. It's only October. It's the beginning of October.
It is a little early, right?
Yes.
We have time.
Yes.
Plenty of time to cook.
We still got that big green egg.
I know.
If you smell, I went, he's here. My wife is going, don't wake up the children. I go, babe, some things are more important than the children's sleep patterns. They'll understand. And here comes, boom, 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 boom. And it was all shadowed out. And what did I say to you? What did I say? Is it the final boss?
What is it? The final boss? Oh, he's got the title. It's the final boss. He has the People's Championship. It is the final boss.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. As that silhouette started to show through the light and the People's Championship was on his shoulder, and you realized there was a glimmer to the vest that he was wearing, because the final boss loves a fancy vest.
Versace.
Yeah. And I've been to Versace. I didn't see one vest. You have to special order those.
I go to the back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And they only come in very, very large sizes.
All of your prettium is going to that vest.
Right. It's very complicated.
Yes.
Yes. And he shows up, and he's got the People's Championship on, and the red lasers are shining. Now, key here, the Barama Bull behind him still has laser red eyes, which is villainy. Villainy. We learned this on the road to WrestleMania. That's villainy. And then he looks in the ring, and Cody and they do such a good job, right, of framing everybody, right? It's like it's a tight shot on The Rock's face, and he's looking in the ring, and then it goes straight to a tight shot on Cody's face, and I go, oh, I forgot. he owes one to Cody.
He does.
And then it goes back to a tight shot on The Rock. And then it goes to a tight shot on Roman's face. And I go, my, what are we dealing with here?
This is layered.
Layered is right. And then The Rock looks towards the ring and he puts his hand up. And I go, oh, we're going to get a Bloodline 1? Is that what we're going to get? We're
Are you
get
going to acknowledge us?
Right. We going to acknowledge the OTC, Rock?
Is the thumb going to be out?
Right. Which I think
we're going to have to analyze that?
I think people overanalyze that. I think he just put his thumb out.
Those people on the internet.
Well, So he puts up the 1, and then 2, and then 3, right?
Yes.
And that's when his music kicked in. Okay. So I go, oh, maybe he was just like, he's just kind of making an appearance and letting us like be the judge. Except then after he does the 3, he puts his fingers down and cuts his throat aggressively. And I said to you immediately, I went, oh my God, Megan, how many people are in the ring? And Megan, tell me how many people were in the ring.
Jimmy Uso was in the ring.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes was in the ring.
Yeah.
And Roman Reigns was in the ring.
3. I said Megan The Rock is sending a message to all 3 of them. I think that's how I perceived it. That The Rock was letting Jimmy, Roman, and Cody all know that they've just entered into the sights of the final boss. Now, I don't know what Roman has done to be entered into the sights of the final boss, unless it is just losing. Rock pinned Cody night 1 of WrestleMania. Night 2 of WrestleMania, Cody pinned Roman. So if it's as simple as, Roman, you lost, you're out. If it's another thing, which is something that's been theorized about, which is Solo Sikoa.
Well, I was going to ask you about this because this is something I've seen on the internet a lot, and we've heard different people talk to us about this.
Yeah.
Okay, has Solo been receiving instruction from the final boss throughout this duration of the new bloodline? And I was paying close attention. We saw the close-up on Cody Rhodes. We saw the close-up on Roman Reigns. There was a shot of the bloodline that seemed to be getting out of the way. I don't know if I want to say scurrying, but it certainly seemed like they were exiting when the final boss arrived. Do you think there's any validity to maybe the final boss is working with Solo Sikoa?
I mean, it's certainly possible. It's certainly, is there no validity to that? No, of course not.
We don't know.
It's certainly possible that Solo, but then, okay, but if he's mad at at Roman Reigns for losing to Cody Rhodes.
There are consequences to losing, right?
Right. But then who lost to Cody Rhodes? Solo.
Yeah.
Like, Solo hasn't been able to get the job done, so wouldn't The Rock also be mad at Solo? But maybe that's why the final boss is back. Maybe the final boss is there to get his guys in line. Unless Solo's not working for him. Maybe just Jacob is working for The Rock.
I don't know.
Maybe the Tongans are working for The Rock. I don't know. But I do think that the play is that is now Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are 1A, 1B top babyface. The Rock is seeing that. The Rock is aware of how much it worked going to WrestleMania this year with The Rock as the number 1 bad guy in the company. And I think The Rock is going, okay, now, I think there's a lot of possibilities. I think there's a big question as to what, if The Rock is going to have a singles match at WrestleMania, who's it going to be with? Is The Rock going to have more than one singles match in the next 365 days? Meaning, could he have a match with one of them before WrestleMania and the other at WrestleMania? Will Jimmy Uso play a part in this? Meaning, will The Rock kind of go through Jimmy to get towards Roman?
Will we get to see a bloodline of the past reunite? And does that include Jey Uso? Does that include Sami Zayn?
Could the desires of so many actually come true? And could The Rock be involved in a War Games match?
Ooh.
You know, now that we've got Jimmy back, it kind of starts to lend itself more towards OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you get Jay involved, maybe you get Sammy involved. But, I mean, could you build a proper team that involved The Rock? Or could it be, you know, Roman and the Usos versus Rock, Jacob, and Solo?
But then what happens to Kevin Owens and Randy Orton? We can't forget that they are involved.
Well, then their focus is over on Cody, unless Cody is so... And that's the other thing. Like, how entrenched in this bloodline story is Cody Rhodes?
Yeah.
Is he adjacent
so far,
to it?
He's been very entrenched.
Since SummerSlam.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Is he adjacent to it? Meaning going forward... Yeah, we'll get a Rock-Cody match, but the Rock-Cody match is different from The Rock's work with the Bloodline, or is it all one and the same? And if it is one and the same, then yeah. Are we in another scenario where even though Roman doesn't have the WWE Championship, the WWE Championship is still hijacked by Bloodline? Because Cody is linked now into this whole incredible Bloodline saga. I think, or does The Rock work twice? And is WrestleMania Rock versus Cody and Rock versus Roman?
Or do we get one WrestleMania 41 and we have to wait for the other one at WrestleMania 42?
Well, here's what I think. I don't think The Rock is back.
No, I don't think so either.
I think we got drip fed. I think a little breadcrumbing, and that's it. I think The Rock just peeked in here to let everybody know I'm still around, I'm still watching, and I may very well still be involved. But ultimately, I don't think he's back. I mean, I have trouble seeing The Rock in War Games. But I also don't. I mean, you know, when The Rock first came back to wrestle John Cena for the first once-in-a-lifetime match, not to be confused with the second twice-in-a-lifetime match. The first once-in-a-lifetime match, before they went to WrestleMania, they teamed together at Survivor Series. And back then, I would have told you, I don't see The Rock doing a tag match at Survivor Series before this big singles match with John Cena. But he did.
Did you see The Rock doing a tag match at WrestleMania?
I don't think The Rock saw The Rock doing a tag match at WrestleMania. You know, I think... Yeah, and that's why it's like it's so interesting, because as much as we're following this logical progression, at the same time, everything is still on the table as a possibility.
Of course. I mean, we learned from WrestleMania 40 and the build to WrestleMania 40 that everything changed.
I think right now I'm highly emotional, so I can't be held as his feelings. OG Bloodline Survivor Series versus New Bloodline. The Rock may not be back until January.
Does the OG bloodline include Sami Zayn?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because that's my favorite.
Whose favorite isn't it? I don't think we're going to see The Rock again until January. What do you think?
Yeah, I think January 1 or January 6.
That would be the date that I think as well. Huh?
Yeah,
Weird coincidence.
It's similar to last year, right?
Yeah.
Day 1.
Yeah, day 6. They're going to call it Raw Day 6. Live on Netflix. Yeah, that's going to be a hell of a Raw talk that day.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm already excited.
That's what I think anyway. Who knows? Elsewhere at Bad Blood, of course, you had Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Mm-hmm. We had the Judgment Day distractions coming in. But ultimately, even though he was distracted by the bloodline, by the Judgment Day, Damian Priest is able to beat Finn Balor completely clean. And I actually did because for a second I was like, oh, are they going to get this to Finn that much? Because,
I thought Finn was going to win.
Yeah.
Heading into this.
Is that just the rhyming?
That was... No, but heading into Bad Blood, that was my prediction. I thought Judgment Day walks out on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
All around.
I think, I liked that they had Priest get distracted by the Judgment Day, and then Finn messed up, and then Priest was able to take advantage, but then Finn got the advantage again. because it made it so that when Priest did win, like a minute or two after that, he completely won because he beat Finn Balor.
Yeah.
He didn't win because the interference went awry. Like, there's no question as to who deserved to win that match. And it was interesting because on one end, I love that for Damian Priest. Like, I love him being in that position where it's like, yeah, you just, we're bringing you back up to where you were.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'd love to see Finn Balor drift towards that main event scene again, And so I'm sure he'll still have opportunity to do that. But
do you think it's over between Finn Balor and Damian Priest?
no, because it's not over between the Terror Twins and the Judgment Day.
Of course.
I think that as a singular issue between Finn Balor and Damian Priest, yeah, I think that has kind of been put to bed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But as a sort of larger Finn Balor and Damian Priest involved in each other's business, no, that's not over. And the reason that's not over is because of the Liv and Rhea match. Now, the Liv and Rhea match, a little bit different, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had the shark cage, Dom up there, scared of heights, so he was close to the ground. Claustrophobic. I thought the match was actually quite good for the first, 3 quarters or whatever. I love that Liv attempted the Three Amigos.
Yeah.
Because she's so in love with her daddy, Dominic Mysterio. At one point, Dominic got the door open.
Yep.
A little weird because he was just able to kind of get it open, but, he's been to prison. And they know they pick locks in prison. I don't know if you know that.
That's what they do?
They pick locks constantly.
Okay. Yeah, because I was confused how he got the shark cage open.
Probably had a hairpin. That's what the prisoners, the convicts.
Then why didn't he pick the lock around his ankle?
I thought he was just tangled up.
Oh, I thought he had another lock around his ankle.
You think that he was such a danger to society that they locked him in the shark cage and then also locked his ankle to the cage?
Listen, Dirty Dom is a dangerous man.
It's very possible.
He has a history.
It's very possible that was a part that I just missed or something like that. But the way I received it was that, I don't know, he got tangled up in some accoutrement up there.
I mean, for someone that was tangled up, he was dangling for a while.
Oh, yeah, he was. So here's my thing about the finish of this match. Kayfabe, not taking shots at this human being. That referee was atrocious. I mean, horrendous officiating.
Just let Rhea do whatever she wants. I need a minute. You know what? You earned it. Go ahead. Take 2. Take 5.
Grab yourself a foreign object. Have fun with it. Get a weapon. Go get yourself a weapon. They're right under the ring.
And now we have cameras on these referees because they need to be held accountable.
They need to be held accountable. So he allows Rhea to take a timeout. I always thought there were no timeouts in wrestling. He allows Rhea to take a timeout, go out.
Liv Morgan throws a challenge flag, like Bill Belichick style, out of her sock. No,
That's
I'm just kidding.
Throws it right down on the ground with disgust, just complete contempt and disdain. It's the best.
So good.
And she's beating up Dominic with a kendo stick. And then Liv comes out to make the save. And then out of nowhere, somebody attacks, and Rhea starts going after Liv. Out of nowhere, somebody attacks Rhea Ripley. And then we see it's revealed it's Raquel Rodriguez, which is, I think, I like that as a return. And it makes perfect sense. And it even makes more perfect sense because everything counts. And Liv, in the interview that she did with Jackie, that was aired on the expertly hosted Bad Blood Countdown show.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, it was all you. You did a good job. Whoever your co-host you were stuck with was. He was the pits, but you, Megan.
But listen, he looked pretty cool today.
He had cool pants on.
Cool pants. Nice shoes. It was a good look.
I kept asking the sound guys, do I look cool? She said, I went and captured the tag team championship with another partner and proved Rhea wrong. And they showed footage of Liv and Raquel. Mm-hmm. So it's like they didn't hit the nail right on the head by saying, Raquel is my ex-partner and I think she's great. But they showed the image. They showed that as being part of the Rhea story. So now when Raquel shows up, it's like, oh, yeah, of course. They have a history.
So now this is interesting because forever ago, when Liv Morgan won the title and began this revenge tour, when Rhea Ripley went out and had to relinquish the title, I think I said to you, because it was like, well, who is who is Liv going to defend against while Rhea's out? And I said, what if Raquel comes back and says, I don't like the person you've become? And we get this match between Liv and Raquel because they have history as tag team partners. And so I was waiting for a while for Raquel to come back, and it just never happened. But I always thought when she did come back, it would be as a baby face.
Right. And instead, she's come back as Liv Morgan's heater, which makes perfect sense.
It does.
Because Rhea Ripley was able to fight Dominic Mysterio's fights. But Liv Morgan is not as tough as Rhea Ripley. So if Rhea Ripley shows up to fight Dominic Mysterio, Liv can't fight that fight for Dominic. However, Raquel can fight the fight for Liv and Dominic, and it makes them even more obnoxious to have an additional party as their sort of like bodyguard, Big Daddy Cool protector. And she called herself Big Mommy Cool for a long time, didn't she?
Yeah, and we saw when they were tag team partners, Raquel would use Liv as a weapon.
Right.
Like pick Liv up and throw Liv at people. And that was one of their moves.
Raquel is like Diesel. Liv is like Shawn Michaels. And then that means Dominic is like Rhonda Shear when she walked Shawn Michaels to the ring that time. Sensational Sherry.
Okay. How do you feel about that as a Dom defender?
I love Dom. I love Rhonda Shear. I love Sensational Sherry.
Okay.
So it's all good for me.
Right.
But here's what I thought. So like then the referee, as Raquel is beating up Rhea, it's almost like once the referee gave Rhea permission to go beat up Dom, he just gave up on the match.
Well, maybe the referee, like you, was distracted by Dom because he's so gorgeous.
He's a good-looking guy, but like...
No, I agree with you. In all seriousness, I agree with you. I mean, it's like we get this return of Raquel. Raquel puts Liv over Rhea to go for the pin, but we already had
the bell ring.
The bell ring, yeah.
But my thing was that the referee didn't really stop Raquel from doing anything. Like, made no attempt to stop it that I saw, and I just watched it once. We're coming right off of it. I could, I'll rewatch it. But also, I never saw him call for the bell. Like, I never saw him stop everything. So then when the bell just rang, I think a lot of the audience in the building and myself at home were like, a disqualification? I also think that people didn't really love the idea of a disqualification finish. I mean, it's like... Maybe I think that you could have gotten the same work done if you had Rhea hit Dominic. Dominic falls out of the cage. He starts going for his ankle. Liv gets the referee to check on Dominic. While the referee is checking on Dominic, Raquel comes out and beats up Rhea Ripley. And then the referee turns around, runs back to the ring. Liv Morgan pins Rhea Ripley. Because it's not like anybody would be like, oh, Rhea keeps getting beat. They go like, that wasn't fair, but at least it wouldn't be a DQ, and you'd kind of see where the referee was coming from.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay.
I think that makes perfect sense. It seemed confusing at the end of that match.
And I think
the crowd felt confused. We were confused at home, and the crowd's reaction told me that they were confused as well.
You have Bayley versus Nia Jax, which... kind of par for the course. Like, you had the return, the fake cash in, the Tiffany thinking about it and then not doing it, which is becoming a habit. I think that Nia Jax, I would hope, trusts Tiffany a little less every time.
I mean, this is 2 nights in a row now.
Right. And every premium live event since she's won the briefcase.
Yeah.
So you would think Nia would be like, hey, Tiff.
Are you really my friend?
Yeah, maybe you stay home next time. I don't trust you.
Yeah, how about that?
Or
maybe it's just Nia doesn't have a lot of friends, so she keeps her around.
And though, and that's possible, but she was the one that caused the distraction that allowed Nia Jax to get the victory. So when she's not cashing in, she is good for something. And we had Nia Jax retaining the title there. Then the first match of the night, the 5th match that we haven't yet spoken about, the Hell in a Cell. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Now, I had said, of course, that I thought that this match should main event. And, of course, on paper, I would still stand by that just out of the sheer fact that this has been one of the most television-dominant storylines in months and months and months and months, and this was advertised as the blow-off. That said, Roman Reigns return, Jimmy Uso surprise return, The Rock shows up, that kind of is how you close your show. If they had done all that in the opening match, I'd be like, what are we doing? That's nuts.
I know but the name Bad Blood and the Hell in a Cell
Sure.
match, the only Hell in a Cell match on the card. I see where you're coming from on paper that Hell in a Cell should main event, but when you have all of that extra stuff going on, you got to put.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't start the show with The Rock coming out.
No,
right?
no, and I don't have. I mean, start doing that match first is way better than I mean, if you're not going to do it last, do it first.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any problem with it going on first, and it made me excited when it went on first, kind of, because then I was like, I made me excited when I realized it was going on first, because I was like, ooh, maybe we get something juicy in the main event.
And also, when you go first, you're not rushing for time.
No, taking all their time, enjoying their trip to hell. I cannot get over the condition that CM Punk is in. I mean, the fact that this guy is at the age that he's at, has had the career that he's had, but also doesn't get the reps that other people get. Like, isn't wrestling every week. And by the way, I wouldn't advocate for him to wrestle every week. I never did before. I think that, this is CM Punk should be in big matches on pay-per-views. You should, or premium live events or whatever. You should,
at this point in his career.
Yes, 100%. But I mean, I just can't get over the fact that, like, he gets in there now and we take for granted, like, of course he's CM Punk. He's going to give us a great match. It's like he's a freak for being able to give us matches this good. And I commend him greatly, because I'm sure it's taking an insane amount of extremely hard work to get into the condition that he's in. And I'm sure he's doing reps like crazy at the Performance Center.
Yeah, I was going to say he's down in Orlando. It seems a lot. So whatever he's doing, it's working. And I mean, we've seen him in 3 matches now since the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
He's been outstanding.
Outstanding, especially tonight at Hell in a Cell. Also, I don't know if you caught this. I saw it. I was looking at his gear, and I saw there was a heart on there, and I was like, huh. And then I looked up what it was. I saw on Surratt's Instagram. His colors were matching Shawn's colors from the original 1997 Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker. Mm-hmm. And this is really remarkable because he's a Bret guy.
Yeah.
And he's always worn Bret tribute gear.
And it occurred to you today that we may have gotten a Bret Hell in a Cell match.
I know. I was talking to you about that. Yeah. That we should have gotten a Bret Hart Hell in a Cell, buddy, timing-wise. But no, I say all this to say, like, I feel as though Shawn must have made a great impact, or must be making a great impact on Punk down at the Performance Center to tribute him like this, because it was a Heartbreak Kid heart that was on his tights. It was like Chicago Star, Heartbreak Kid heart with the kind of zebra print pattern that was on his Hell in a Cell tights. And then Chicago Star. So just that one HB Shizzle heart. I was like, look at that. I never thought, and this is, going deep, but I never thought we would see the day that Punk was wearing Shawn tribute gear, but I love it for so many reasons.
Now, is this still as time passes, right? People who were Bret guys or Shawn guys, the lines blur. But for someone like Punk, who is such a Bret guy, are you firmly one or the other? Is it like
me?
I mean, anybody, right? Like, if the way you're making the sound makes it seem like it would be me wearing a Chicago Cubs anything. Like, I would never do that.
I think there was a time that was true. I feel like that's not really true
anymore.
Okay. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't.
Enough time has passed.
Yeah.
Respect.
And also it's like, he's probably built a personal relationship with Shawn at the Performance Center and goes like, oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't appreciate everything this guy was doing. Because, you could do it for fun, but to seriously be an only Bret or only Shawn guy is to deprive yourself of so much amazing wrestling. Like, Bret and Shawn are so, like, cemented into my wrestling heart, both of them. Mm-hmm. because they were both so good. They were both so far ahead of their time. They were both so important for opening the door for guys like them, smaller guys, technical guys, and also wrestled completely differently from each other, but complemented each other. It would be hard for me to think of a pair that complement each other better than, or even at the same level that Brett and Shawn did, which is, and maybe that's where some of the tension comes from, that the closer you get, the more friction starts. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, now my analogy is just really bad because if you're White Sox or Cubs, you would just deprive yourself of a lot of really bad baseball.
Yeah.
So,
Which lousy team do you want to support?
wow.
That's a great point. Yeah, I thought that it was a really well done match. Drew McIntyre got a ton of offense in,
Especially at the beginning. I mean, when he ripped the legs off the table.
Oh, yeah. It was like real life. It was like, this is what a person would do if he wanted to hurt someone that he was in a wrestling match with. The way he ripped the legs off the table, the way, just would beat him down. All the punches just seemed and felt so real. I mean, they clearly just said, this is the one. So it's got to count. And they were both under the gun. It's like, we're bringing Hell in a Cell back because it matters, not because it's that time of the year. It's the silver Hell in a Cell. You both have talked about how important this is. Both of you have gone on television and said, I hate you. I hate you more than I love my family, is what Drew McIntyre said. It's like, that has to deliver. You have to have a great Hell in a Cell match. You have to. And it's difficult to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the history of that. Like, you would think so much has been done. You have to really start thinking. But I love that they didn't leave the cell. They weren't on the roof. They weren't climbing. They stayed inside that cell. And the cell functioned the way it's supposed to function, which is it kept the competitors in the ring. It kept the fight right there in the ring.
And that's where we get the hell.
That's right. The hell occurs within the cell. Right. The toolbox shot I thought was great. And just a boom. I love when they use a toolbox because it's like when they pull a table out from under the ring. I go, why they got all those tables down there? When they pull
You hate tables.
Well, I'm not a tables. By the way, I said, you got me in so much trouble.
Me?
I said, we want tables is the worst chant in wrestling because of your tweet. And I tweeted it back to you because you got me fired up again.
Okay.
And you know who sent me a meme like, wait till the next time I see you? Bubba Ray Dudley.
Oh.
That's his chant. I didn't mean it like that.
You and Bubba got to eat.
No, you do.
Listen, you said it. You said you don't like that chant. So I was just checking in to see if Nashville did okay.
You're a real instigator. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that. You got me in trouble with the Dudley.
You did it to yourself.
Oh. So anyway. But like they pull out a Singapore, a kendo stick. Why is there a kendo stick under the ring? But when they pull out a toolbox, I go, well, there would be a toolbox under the ring. What if they got to fix the ring?
Yeah.
It makes sense. But then, they're hitting each other with wrenches and the tools and everything. I liked when Drew pulled out the thumbtacks bag and it was just full of bracelet beads just to really put a cap.
Yeah.
On that part of the rivalry. That's when somebody is really sitting there thinking, like, what kind of ideas do we have for this match? And somebody comes up with that. I love that.
Well, I love it, too, because you actually put it into context when we were watching, when you explained to your son that the beads would basically be as painful as stepping on a Lego. And so when, during the match, that's the feeling. And even I was sitting there, oh, wow, that's
I go,
that's some sort of pain.
Yeah. My son's like, those are like beads, like he broke a friendship bracelet. And I go, no, buddy, it's just the beads because he had broken a bracelet earlier. But now that they're all over the ring, like, the feeling of when you step on a Lego, right? And he goes, oh, yeah, oh. And it is true. But I would step on Legos all day long if it meant I never had to miss a Claymore and land with my back on the edge of the stair. That hit that Drew took looked so painful. Oh.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both of these men Drew obviously had the offensive advantage at the beginning of the match. And I kept thinking, how is Punk going to match this?
Mm-hmm.
Both men were completely, just beaten at the end of this Hell in a Cell match.
They took each other's finishers. They kicked out, it wasn't. And then finally, and it was one of these great matches where it's like, it's fully telling a story, but it's also like, it doesn't feel like performance art.
No.
It feels like a fight. It feels like two guys that are trying to brutalize each other, especially when they started going back and forth with those punches and they're just like nailing they're punching each other in the face. Punk wraps the chain around his knee, hits the GTS 1, 2, 3. CM Punk wins, as I believe that he should have for the purposes of the story and where we're going next. I think Drew comes out of this whole thing 10 times better than he was before he got into it.
No
Punk,
question.
10 times, the idea of transitioning into WWE fans believing that CM Punk is really back, that transition has been made. This story has done wonders for both of them. And I feel like the chain on the knee, completely appropriate for the match that they were in. Not enough that Drew would ever complain, well, you had a chain on your knee. Well, of course, it's a Hell in a Cell match. But it is that extra thing where it's like, Punk was able to take advantage of a singular moment, and that's why he got the victory, and take advantage of the rules in that singular moment, which is all to say that Drew McIntyre doesn't lose credibility like he would if it was just a straight match, regular rules, and CM Punk hits the GTS and McIntyre just loses. I don't feel like McIntyre comes across like a loser after losing this match, if that makes sense.
I don't think either person comes across as a loser.
And Punk taking in the oxygen from the oxygen tanks and everything. It's just like, yes, CM Punk won, but the outcome is both of these guys just left it all in there.
And we got to see 3 incredible matches.
Yeah.
And now you talk about moving ahead. Seth freaking Rollins returned on Monday night.
He did, but he's clearly got business with Big Bronson.
He does.
So you wonder,
how do we get to Punk
Rollins? I mean, hopefully that will wait until WrestleMania, right? Hopefully there's some middle ground. We also know that we're not going to, because we got to do Punk Gunther at some point. Punk's already kind of planted that seed. I think we're going to get both. We know we're not going to get Gunther Punk at Crown Jewel because the announcement was made that at Crown Jewel, there's going to be a men's world champion versus WWE champion and a women's world champion versus WWE champion. And the winner of those matches, while their titles won't be on the line, the winner will get a giant Crown Jewel championship title full of diamonds. And I mean giant. It's huge.
It's the biggest title belt I've ever seen.
It's incredible looking.
And shiniest? Is shiniest
Very
a word?
shiny.
Most shiny?
Most shiny, shiniest. I think shiniest is a word, and I think that is... Yeah, because remember, Tegan Knox's move was the shiniest wizard. So shiny, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
But, by the way, I love that this is my context for shiniest.
Who could forget?
Yes. But yeah, it's got all those diamonds on it, and it's got so much ground to cover. So I would imagine we're getting Cody versus Gunther and Liv versus Nia, unless Sami Zayn wins the title on Raw. We got 4 weeks. I would think... I don't see any of those champions losing their titles in 4 weeks.
I don't either.
You never know, but I mean...
Can we talk about Gunther for just a sec?
I mean, we're going to.
I'm so excited.
I know. Okay. Let's just get this part out of the way, because I am too. Yeah, because, so Liv and Nia, I think Nia wins.
Okay.
Because I think, it just adds to her collection. All in 1 year... Women's Championship, crown, and the big giant biggest belt you've ever seen in your life, and I think Crown Jewel Championship, and I like.
Are we just gonna call it the big giant,
shiniest
belt that you've ever seen ever?
Yeah. And then, man, I mean, logic would have you say Cody Rhodes beats Gunther.
Yeah.
But there is something appealing about Gunther winning that title too, isn't there?
There's something appealing about Gunther winning any title.
Like couldn't Kevin Owens or Solo Sikoa or anyone come in and interfere and cost Cody that match so that Gunther can get that big giant title?
Without a doubt.
Yeah. That's the way I would go now. What I really want to see is Gunther versus his favorite wrestler, Bill Goldberg.
It's so funny because when Gunther called out Bill Goldberg in Canada, in Calgary, Canada, in front of Bret Hart and said, I'm not really a Bret Hart guy. I'm a Bill Goldberg guy. Every time I've seen or heard Goldberg since this statement made by Gunther, I always just chuckle. And it was almost the way that Gunther said, Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg. So Goldberg's sitting front row and Gunther comes out and I'm just wondering, is he going to call him out? Is he going to call him out? Is he going to acknowledge his favorite wrestler, Bill Goldberg?
Well,
but he can't give Bill Goldberg praise. It's Gunther. He doesn't give anybody praise.
No, so he changed his mind. He goes, you're actually not my favorite wrestler at all. I hope you're a better father than you are a wrestler. You stink at wrestling. And
One-trick pony.
One-trick pony, and Goldberg gets mad. I do want to see Gunther versus Goldberg.
Oh, it was so good.
I do want to see it.
And the smirk that Gunther had on his face throughout.
He loves getting people upset like that. Hopefully we will see Gunther versus Goldberg, but Kevin Owens attacked Cody Rhodes in the parking lot.
What? I was wondering why you were on your phone. Oh!
I mean, it's literally like fan video in the parking lot of Kevin Owens beating up Cody Rhodes.
In front of Cody's bus.
Yes, in front of Cody's bus. Kevin Owens beating up Cody Rhodes, so he wasn't on the press conference. Wow. And Kevin Owens attacks Cody Rhodes. So for sure, Gunther's winning that big giant title. Kevin Owens is going to interfere. And then, that leads us to KO versus Cody at Survivor Series. And Bloodline versus Bloodline in War Games. With Sami Zayn.
Hopefully.
Man, we figured it all out again. Megan Morant.
Look at us.
Look at who would have thought?
I mean, I hope we're right.
I know. Well, we'll have a lot more to talk about on Monday morning, obviously. I'm going to watch the press conference. I'll check out this video. I'll let these thoughts continue to develop in this brain of mine. But today wasn't about brains. Today wasn't about analysis. Today was about feelings. And Megan, I couldn't think of a better person to once again share my feelings with than you.
Sam, it was a blast. We'll do it again next time.
I can't wait. Thank you, everybody. See you on Monday.